You think you know me.
Wrestling fans, what's going on? It's Black Couch Booking here with a brand new video. If you're new to the channel, please like, comment, and subscribe. I promise you will not be disappointed. And if you're old to the channel, Couch Crew, you already know the vibes, man. Leave y'all thoughts in the comment section. So today's topic, man, we're going to be talking about black fatigue in WWE. I was going to make black fatigue in wrestling specifically, but I actually wouldn't have no points because AEW, TNA, Indies do not suffer from this issue. And this issue is not just from a standpoint of certain fans in the IWC, but I'm going to talk about how the company itself is also dealing with the term black fatigue. Now, if you don't know what black fatigue is, it's basically, you know, the emotional exhaustion, you know, basically people are quote unquote tired of black people and they're getting emotional, they're getting exhausted, they're getting outraged. And it basically comes from, you know, the systematic discrimination that has plagued our country and the world for many moons now. And the reason why I'm bringing this up is because I seen a couple of things on Threads once Jade Cargill won the WWE Women's Championship, and I have other thoughts as well. But I think that is pure and utter nonsense that black fatigue should even exist in wrestling or WWE, period. Because let's be completely honest, black individuals in wrestling is not like they eating. It's not like they have won every single title. They're in your face every week. We go literal weeks without any black people even on the programming. So I don't know why, you know, this is becoming an issue. And you could say I'm picking straws, I'm reaching, but I've seen it. If you don't have it, I used to love Threads. I thought Threads was the anti-Twitter. I thought Threads is where the more level-headed and smart people congregate. But obviously, I was completely wrong. So, you know, I was watching a Saturday night main event. And then, you know, after that Cody Rhodes and Drew match, which, man, terrible. You know, me and Expert Level Wrestling, we was talking, you know, we was on the phone discussing our thoughts, and we was hoping that Jade was going to squash Tiffany, blah, blah, blah. And then something very interesting came up on the TV. It was a segment or ad or commercial, whatever you want to call it, where R-Truth and Montez Ford went to the food bank in Utah. Now, the reason why that stuck out for me, and me and OG was laughing, like dying laughing, because it's so funny. It's so, what would Cody Rhodes say, apropos that you would have the two black guys go to the food bank. They don't get to wrestle on the show. They don't even get to have a segment on the show doing something backstage. And we haven't seen the Street Profits since they lost to the Wyatts and they didn't continue their story of possibly splitting. They just came back together out of nowhere, lost. And we had R-Truth just acting like he was Santa Claus on Halloween because he's so dumb that he doesn't know that it's actually Halloween and it's not Christmas. But having two black guys volunteer at a food bank in Utah, and if you're not familiar with Utah, Utah is known for not being very friendly to black individuals. Shout out to Russell Westbrook. Every time he played in Utah, had a problem with someone in the crowd heckling him, you know, using possible racial slurs and basically just calling him out because of the color of his skin. And Utah themselves deal with a lot of issues, you know, with black individuals, whether they play for the sports teams, whether they're entertainers that come to Utah. Black people do not go to Utah very often. So it's just very interesting that WWE decided to have Montez Ford and R-Truth volunteer at the food bank. Two black guys volunteer at the food bank. And that's, you know, that's just my first point of, you know, black fatigue in WWE. And it's funny because, like I said, black people don't really do much. But look at Jade Cargill's booking in a nutshell. It was one of those situations where I wholeheartedly think that they weren't going to let her get the belt eventually, because we had 3 attempts before Saturday night main event, and it's not like, oh, they're waiting for the perfect moment. Why would the perfect moment be winning at Saturday night main event and not winning at a big PLE like Survivor Series? Hell, SummerSlam was the perfect opportunity to win, because since then, what did Tiffany Stratton do of significance besides keep going back and forth with Jade Cargill? So you could have had to just win at SummerSlam and you would have had the same result that you have today. And that plays into the black fatigue thing, because it's like, yo, brother, we got to keep putting her out there. And they see the backlash from, you know, of certain fans who like, damn, Jade not going to win. Y'all doing Jade dirty. Look how y'all doing Jade. And they really didn't want to give Jade Cargill the title. I am completely convinced that we could have lived in a world where Tiffany Stratton made 1 year. And that's no knock on Tiffany Stratton. But it's just crazy that, you know, WWE does this all the time with either they wait too long to capitalize on you know, black individuals, or they just throw it out. Let me go back to the Street Profits, for example. The Street Profits, they had an interesting story where they could have split. They built it up for weeks, and then they came to the conclusion that, you know what, they're not going to split. And I was like, okay, that's fine. But then, not only do they lose to the YS6, they don't go anywhere with that, and the Street Profits have not been on TV since they lost. And at that point, I genuinely thought, okay, the Street Profits say they're good, they're back together. Once they go against the YS6, even if they lose, they're going to split up so they can go into a story. And now the Street Profits are back to square one. And the Street Profits have suffered from this long enough where they did this stuff with Bobby Lashley. Are they going to turn heel? Yeah, they're going to turn heel. Nah, never mind. They're the Pride now. Now they're not heels anymore. And then they came back. You know, they was out. I think maybe Dawkins was hurt or Montez Ford was hurt. They came back, and then they went after the tag team belts. Are they going to turn heel? No, they're not going to turn heel. We'll give them the belts, but they're not going to do anything of significance as far as, you know, a storyline or a heel turn. And then we'll just throw B-Fab in there as well. So it's just very interesting that, you know, even within the company, you can see black fatigue. Bianca Belair being out right now, I'm sure they're very happy with that. And what I'm saying is they're happy that they don't have to find a spot for her. Naomi getting pregnant, you know, they were going to push Naomi to the forefront. You know, she got pregnant, so that's no fault of her own or the company as far as why she's not in the picture. But look what's going on here, guys. Carmelo Hayes is just starting to get traction on SmackDown, you know, due to, you know, his feud with The Miz. But prior to that, this man was sub below 50% winning. This man's winning was like at a 30% rate, and even now it's still not high. I could look up the stats for y'all, but I really don't feel the need to at this moment in time. But look at his winning. You can't tell me there's not black fatigue in wrestling from the fan standpoint. Let's look at the fans. I'm not talking about us fans. I'm talking about the fans who are progressive, that even if they're not black fans. We're talking about the fans that, let's be completely honest, guys, Triple H and Donald Trump are in cahoots. You know, they buddy. You know, Linda McMahon is on the board of education or the head of education, whatever the case may be. Trump and Vince McMahon have been friends for a long time. Trump has been a part of WWE for a long time, and Triple H said that Trump was successful because he was being himself in WWE at the time, where he came with the Bobby Lashley and Umaga stuff. So it's not out of the realm of possibility that we have individuals who, and I'm not saying individuals who are Republican. I'm saying individuals who are, you know, spread that discrimination rhetoric and things like that. It's not out of the realm of possibility that they are huge wrestling fans, and every time they see a Jade Cargill, every time they see a Bianca Belair, a Street Profits, the R-Truth, Carmelo Hayes, whatever the case may be on the main roster, that they do not rock with it. They do not rock with it. And if you don't think that you know, wrestling and politics go hand in hand, you might be lost, my friend. You might be lost, my friend. We literally had wrestlers in the White House with the president. And we know, even if it won't be said outright, we know what those individuals are about. So, not putting black people to the forefront, not having a black world champion as a male specifically for sure, is a thing that can be a byproduct of where the state of the world is and who they align themselves with, man. And the reason why I say black fatigue should be utter nonsense is because we don't win nothing. Carmelo Hayes better beat The Miz. I'll tell you that right now. If he doesn't beat The Miz, I'm done. The only thing we have is NXT. Shout out to Trick Williams, Obafemi, and them guys down there. Shout out to Jada Parker. Shout out to Lash Legend. You know what I'm saying? Kalani Jordan. Hey, shout out to Sol Ruka too. I'm going to throw that in there. But you know that's all we have. So with the main roster, man, within the company, it's for sure black fatigue. Even though we don't get anything, well, that's where they want to keep us. They don't want us to get anything. Remember back when Triple H said he doesn't see color? And I was like, okay, buddy. You know what I'm saying? And then, you know, Booker T and Swerve went back and forth. Listen, man, we don't want to talk about race all the time. We want to enjoy the wrestling. I've enjoyed the wrestling thus far. except for this past Monday Night Raw. It was a little iffy to me, but it's just like we have to acknowledge things that are real. We can't fake it and we can't lie. This is a real thing that's going on. It's a term that's been going around recently in the political space, which I try to stay away from. But at the end of the day, it does baffle me how people can have black fatigue that don't live around black people, work around black people, integrate with black people. It's always the conservatives that have black fatigue, but you don't even live with black. These people who don't like black people will never live with black people, will never interact with black people on a daily basis, and they're not even in the same communities or tax brackets. So I don't know why this is a thing, which is why I don't know why this is a thing with wrestling. We have one black champion on the main roster, and that is Jade Cargill. So I don't get the issue of why people were blowing up on threads. And of course, people try to hide that with she sucks, blah, blah, blah. But you got to look at certain comments with the way certain people think. She's so trashy. We had a good Tiffany Stratton who was clean cut, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, holy moly. Jade Cargill is trashy. Tiffany Stratton was in the parking lot getting beat up. Jade Cargill is trashy, but Tiffany Stratton brought up Charlotte Flair's divorce when it wasn't a part of the script. You know what I'm saying? It's just things like that. And then the Street Profits, when they come out and get no reception until they start doing the thing with their arms and shit. It's just, and R-Truth being a fucking goofy, where he should be Ron Killings, man. You can't tell me that black fatigue is not a real thing within the WWE space. Because why didn't you have R-Truth become Ron Killings? Why did you have him do that? Just so you get the views on YouTube and get the money and revenue from YouTube ads. But then revert him back to thinking he's Santa Claus on Halloween. Revert him back to catching flight to, I'm in the wrong Missouri or whatever the fuck. I was supposed to go to Miami. I'm in Miami, Ohio. R-Truth is better than that, man. First black NWA champion, multi-time NWA champion. Street Profits, multi-time tag team champions. Could have just split them and gave them a story so they could have a story to do. But you got motherfuckers throwing fireballs at each other and shit. This is the problem, guys. This is the issue. This is the issue in the current state of wrestling right now with black individuals. I hope Jade Cargill has a great run. I hope she squashes all her opponents. I hope she's the Goldberg that you call her as an insult. I hope she squashes everybody. And I hope the Street Profits could be back on TV soon. Carmelo Hayes get a dub, man. We want good wrestling, great wrestling for all individuals. Dominic is representing in AAA and for the Mexican community. The Kabuki Warriors are doing their thing. Io Sky been doing her thing. The UK wrestlers are going insane bananas. Let the black people eat. I hope Jade Cargill is one of the best women's WWE champions ever. And I hope she has a great run. And I hope Carmelo Hayes ends up becoming what I think he can become. And I can't wait for Trick Williams to come to the main roster. Obafemi, all those, Javon Evans, all those guys, man. We got talent across the board from all different races. We need to come together and be one and stop being fatigued by the other. So, like, comment, subscribe. Thank y'all for the love and support as always. Hope you guys enjoyed the video today. And let me know your thoughts and opinions down below. Am I reaching? It's up to you. That's up to you. That's your opinion. This is my opinion. I know what I've seen on threads. I'm not going to put any of those comments because some of them were nasty. And luckily, some of them got removed. So, thank y'all for the love and support as always. See you guys very soon. Let's get back to the wrestling, man. I just had to drop that tidbit of knowledge for y'all. Peace out.